A subtle wind stirs across a divided landscape. On one side, a golden light stretches into eternity. On the other, shadows creep like a living fog. Among the multitudes, few stand alert. Few discern the quiet fracture that splits hearts and souls. But God sees, and He moves. What is hidden will not remain so forever. What was false among the faithful is about to be revealed. The world believed unity was strength. Congregations filled the streets, voices lifted in song, hands clasped in prayer. Yet beneath the surface, a silent compromise had taken root. Many professed faith, yet their hearts wandered into shadows, seeking comfort in the shallow and the familiar rather than the divine. The faithful looked the same, yet God knew the difference. He has always known. And now a subtle separation begins. Not by force of man, not by judgment alone, but by the quiet, unyielding light of truth. It whispers through the hearts of the vigilant, illuminating the path, while exposing the cracks in the faith of the complacent. Few recognize it. Fewer still are ready to respond. Consider the moments in Scripture when God separated the righteous from the unfaithful. Noah, guided through the flood, built the ark while the world mocked him. Abraham, chosen to inherit a promise, left everything behind while nations remained in darkness. Moses led a people through deserts of trial, distinguishing between those who trusted God and those who grumbled in hidden doubt. In these stories, the same pattern repeats. God exposes the heart to reveal the true. The faithful often appear united, yet compromise lurks in familiar places. Pride dressed as humility, love tainted by selfish ambition, devotion diluted by convenience. God's light does not destroy, it reveals. The separation is not punishment, it is clarity. And as the light moves, some awaken. Their hearts, once dormant, now recognize the subtle call. They see the facades crumble and confront their own hidden compromises. Where have I strayed? They ask. And in that confrontation lies the beginning of true faith. But for others, the exposure is unbearable. Shadows cling, and the unrepentant falter. God's separation is precise, intentional, divine. It does not strike the willing. It merely removes the veil from the unwilling. Perhaps that is our own hidden battle. In quiet prayer or loud confession, the question remains, are we walking in truth, or merely in shadow? The divine test has always been subtle, and now the subtle becomes manifest. Through prophets, messengers, and quiet revelation, God calls forth those who are ready. The faithful are not always the loudest or the most numerous. They are the ones who respond when the world shifts and only the heart listens. Light does not shout. It penetrates. Shadows flee where light is acknowledged. The separation often begins quietly within communities. Those who claim faith in words alone may find their convictions tested in small, seemingly insignificant choices. Do they speak truth when it is unpopular? Do they show compassion when it costs them? Do they stand for righteousness when compromise is convenient? The faithful respond in the small moments, which reveal the truth of their hearts. Meanwhile, the false among the faithful cling to appearances. They continue in ritual, habit, and tradition, believing that devotion is measured by outward show. But God's eyes see beyond the veil. The separation exposes the difference. Genuine faith is alive, adaptive, courageous. False faith is stagnant, self-centered, brittle. Every heart is a battlefield. Even those who seem upright wrestle with hidden compromise. A kind word may mask resentment. A charitable act may mask pride. God's light moves through these hidden chambers, illuminating what the soul has long ignored. And the faithful, those ready to see, are transformed. They do not recoil from the truth. They embrace it no matter how uncomfortable. Curiosity stirs. What about our own lives? Where does compromise dwell in our faith? What quiet habit, what unexamined belief, what subtle preference might distance us from the purity God desires? Reflection is not accusation, it is invitation. The light does not condemn, it beckons. History reminds us that God's separation is always intentional, measured, precise. The Israelites were guided out of Egypt not arbitrarily, but with deliberate care. Esther's courage saved a nation because she chose alignment with God's purpose over comfort. The same principle applies now. The hidden separation exposes not to destroy, but to awaken. Some will resist. Human pride often fights the divine process. Those who have grown comfortable in half-truths and shallow devotion will feel tension, anxiety, and dissonance. Yet this discomfort is necessary. The faithful who endure emerge stronger, purer, and aligned with God's intent. And the faithful who awaken, their lives take on a new rhythm. The eyes of the heart see clearly. Their hands, once hesitant, now act in divine alignment. Their choices, once clouded by convenience, now mirror eternal principles. God's light does not merely reveal, it refines. Pattern interrupts. Imagine a city at dawn. Light spills over the horizon, dividing the streets. Shadows cling to corners, twisting familiar faces into unfamiliar forms. A lone figure walks into the light, unafraid, unwavering. Around them, others still hesitate, caught between clarity and comfort. The choice is theirs. This divine separation is ongoing. God's work never ceases, never falters. It moves silently, persistently, through generations. The faithful who heed the call become beacons. Those who resist drift, exposed not by punishment, but by truth. Every generation experiences this hidden separation in its own way, yet the principle remains the same. The heart is revealed, faith is tested, integrity is purified. Consider your own life as part of this unfolding story. Perhaps in moments of solitude, you feel a quiet urging to examine yourself, to question comfort, to reject compromise, to embrace the light even when it is inconvenient. This is God at work, separating truth from pretense, awakening the faithful, and exposing the false. The climax arrives when choice becomes undeniable. The faithful respond not out of fear, but from a deep, resonant love. The false are left to confront their own hearts, stripped of excuses, stripped of facades. God's separation is precise. It clarifies, it purifies, it illuminates, and then transformation follows. The faithful are reborn in understanding, their vision aligned with the divine. Compromise falls away, devotion rises. They move through the world as carriers of light, aware that even subtle choices ripple into eternity. Shadows, once unnoticed, no longer hold sway. God's design is revealed, eternal and unyielding. Perhaps, in this hidden separation, we glimpse the eternal rhythm of divine truth. Light exposes, heart responds, faith endures. And maybe, in our own lives, we too are being quietly divided, revealed not for punishment, but for awakening. Listen closely, and you may hear the whisper, walk in the light, and be made whole.